Hello, everyone. Tonight, my name is Chris Baker, publisher of the Taos News. It's good to see everyone at our annual Tradiciones party. Tonight, we are broadcasting live at Sabroso Restaurant in Arroyo Seco. The Taos News started this tradition 21 years ago. Over the past 2 decades, we have recognized 189 unsung heroes and 26 Citizens of the Year. I want to give a big shout out to my staff, give them a big round of applause. They did a wonderful job. They started working on this in May, in the middle of the pandemic, and this is our largest Tradiciones section ever. I want to thank our advertisers. Without them, we could not have a Tradiciones section. So thank you to a big applause to our advertisers. Without them, obviously we wouldn't be here tonight. I want to thank Audra and Mike Mellinger from Sabroso Restaurant. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for everything. We appreciate it. Usually we're in front of 350 people at El Monte Surgado, but due to COVID, we had to kind of scale down the amount of people on our guest list. We have only our unsung heroes tonight, our select committee, and just a few guests. A special thank you to Luis Reyes. We didn't have live broadband until 48 hours ago. So thank you to Kit Carson. Thank you, Luis. We appreciate it. So once again, we're blessed with the talents of Tony La Jolla. He handcrafted our little glass bears. The bears are a most fitting tribute to our honorees. Tony is from Isleta Pueblo. These are our glass bears. We've been doing our glass bears for 21 years, and they're just a wonderful tribute. Thank you, Tony. So I want to introduce our select committee, the committee that came up with our 10 unsung heroes and our Citizen of the Year. I want to thank Elizabeth Crinton Palacios, our moderator for the group. Elizabeth, thank you. Appreciate it. She's been our moderator for over 10 years. So thank you, Elizabeth. Marilyn Farrow, she couldn't be here tonight, but she's from St. James Episcopal Church, so thank you, Marilyn. I hope you're out there watching tonight. Kathleen Michaels from Taos Pueblo. I don't think she's arrived yet, but thank you, Kathleen. I want to thank Stella Mars McGinnis. There's Stella. Stella's been on our committee for 19 years. And every time I call her, she says, I'll be there. And she's a great participant, so thank you, Stella. I want to thank Ernestine Cordova. Where's Ernestine at? There's Ernestine. And Ernestine is a past Taos News unsung hero. I know the judges work in the room as all time, Judge Ernie Ortega. And he's a past Taos News unsung hero. Here comes the judge. Joseph Quintana from Taos Fiesta Council. Joseph's up front. Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate it. And our newest member to the group is Sonia Struck from Loyal Foundation. Sonia, thank you. Appreciate it. So I want to say a few thank yous, and we want to thank Taos Community Foundation and Lisa O'Brien for being the title sponsor for tonight's event. I think it's important to mention a few facts of what Taos Community Foundation is doing for Taos and Northern New Mexico. Last fiscal year, their granting was over $2.52 million. Including nearly $900,000 in grants strictly related to COVID responses. They currently hold over 170 charitable funds, 35 of which are nonprofit organizations in our community. Taos Community Foundation has grown to nearly $23 million in assets under management. These funds support the growing footprint of grants to our community. So let's give it up to Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. I now want to turn the mic over to Lisa O'Brien, the Executive Director for the Taos Community Foundation, to present some special awards on behalf of the foundation. She'll be presenting our Unsung Hero Awards, and John Miller, our editor, will be presenting our Citizen of the Year Award. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks. Oh, wait, don't take my binder. Good evening. I wanted to just do a couple of announcements to the viewers at home. I realize that when we do these meetings or these presentations, that for those of you that are watching from home, you have no idea what is in this room. So I think it's important to just go through a couple things. As Chris said, the only folks that are in here are the honorees who are accepting awards tonight and a guest. Everyone did bring a mask, has a mask, and was wearing a mask when they came in. There was not a lot of chit chat. There was not a lot of hanging out with one another. We basically took some photos, asked folks to sit down, and people are enjoying a nice meal today. I do want to say that one of the things that happens with events, whether or not it's a wedding, a graduation, something large, they're never easy. There's always hiccups. And what I want to just acknowledge with the Taos News, our partner on tonight's event, is that we had so many moments of going like, okay, can we do this? I don't know. And then 2 weeks later, we were shifting gears. So we were constantly adjusting. And as he said, even as of Monday, we weren't quite sure what we were doing, if this was going to be live broadcast or a feed later in the evening. So I can't say enough about the nimbleness of this group and this team to bring this event together tonight. Couple things. We have no cue cards. There's no teleprompter, and this is live. And the funny part with that is we all kind of went, well, maybe we could sort of do some taped versions. And went, nope, we're going live. So I'm going to tell you a couple things that I've heard already, what you're probably going to see and what you'll probably see from me tonight. My hands will shake as I turn pages. You're going to hear trembling voices. You will see knees kind of feeling a little unsteady. You're going to be watching people kind of go, look up, smile, look at the camera, look up, smile, don't look at your notes. Oh, you got glare on your glasses. Lisa, you better fix your makeup. What is going to happen is live. And I'm just going to say to all of you who are coming up to this stage, the most important part about tonight is honoring who you are, what you have brought to this community and to the people in our world, and to just please embrace that tonight. We normally would have hundreds of people here. You have hundreds of people who are watching you. Don't panic. You're going to be totally great. Just as I said that, I went, oh my God. So have fun tonight. There will be some hiccups, I'm sure, and they're probably mostly going to be on my side. So I'm all good with it. So we're going to move into events or awards. See, there we go. I have found over the years that the word philanthropy is a word that people are often intimidated by. We use the word giving and charity quite easily, and yet shy from the word philanthropy, let alone the word philanthropist. Philanthropy is one step deeper than charity in that it reflects the intent to address a root cause of a particular social problem, not just relieve the pain of it. I am here to assist all of us in getting comfortable with the word philanthropy, so we can wholeheartedly congratulate Taos Community Foundation's Philanthropist of the Year, Mary Mortimer. I met Mary in July of 2016 when I had just become interim director of Taos Community Foundation, and Mary called to explore options about opening up a donor advised fund. One of the forms we looked at together indicated, please select on a form all of the following areas of interest. Mary checked off 21. And I went, okay, I have my work cut out for me. Since that day, Mary has become an integral friend and part of our organization. She's been instrumental in the success and growth of our Women Give Advisory Group that for 3 years in a row now has awarded a single grant of $30,000 to a nonprofit in Taos. This year's honoree was Community Against Violence. Mary has taken on a non-leader leadership role, organizing group volunteer projects, finding amazing speakers, and sponsoring new advisors to the group. At this week's Women Give Advisory meeting, that of course was held by Zoom, fellow advisors commented on her lively spirit, her contagious energy, that she's a cheerleader, and that she was an idea bringer. And I don't even know if that's a word, but she's an idea bringer. I can attest that Mary is interested in getting to root cause conversations and is not afraid to ask the hard questions. And yet she continues to do it in the most unassuming, caring, and supportive manner. On behalf of Taos Community Foundation, please join me in celebrating Philanthropist of the Year, Mary Mortimer.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So Anita and I are at the back going, I don't know what we did to deserve this. I just don't know what we did to deserve this. And her mother, Isabel, goes, get over it. So I have to say that few people find me at any moment in time to really be speechless, but tonight is the exception. I cannot tell you how honored I am to be the recipient of this award and to have it come from this community that I so treasure and love, my Taos. It means so much. And to be here tonight with our unsung heroes and our Citizen of the Year, it is a humbling experience. I applaud each of you. I am so proud of your achievements and your accomplishments. Bravo. As part of the philanthropic endeavor, $1,000 is going to be donated to the hospice services with Mountain Home Health Care. And I thank each and every one of you. And if I have some extra seconds, I will donate them to David Elliott because he apparently has a lot to say.
And I did forget to say that one of the things, and Mary mentioned it, is that Taos Community Foundation will make a grant to Mountain Home Health Care for their palliative care program in Mary's name for tonight's award. The second award that Taos Community Foundation is presenting is the Nonprofit of the Year, and this honors an organization that embodies a clear, inspiring vision for the future, is able to connect that vision to meeting the needs of our community, and that had demonstrated strong collaborative partnerships. In this past year of COVID, those elements became even more important as the needs in our community were greater, and that working under stay-at-home orders demanded new ways for nonprofits to do much of their work. This year's honoree, Community Against Violence, has been a solid anchor organization providing a multitude of support and advocacy services for survivors of all forms of sexual and domestic violence. Founded nearly 45 years ago, CAV has grown to be a leader, not just in our community, but also as a trusted voice, sharing best practices across New Mexico. I'm going to state directly from our community nomination letter that we received. This individual stated, during this global crisis, in the middle of all of the stress and uncertainty it brought, CAV and its staff were flexible, creative, and steadfast in meeting the challenge of providing services safely. They created a safe outdoor counseling space and equipped a COVID-safe room for seeing clients in person with a plexiglass barrier, air purification, and disinfecting protocol, which was later used during remote court appearances. In response to concerns that survivors under stay-at-home orders may not have sufficient privacy or a safe moment to call the hotline, they set up a text line for quiet access for crisis intervention. CAV demonstrates strong leadership and a nimble response early on in the pandemic to outline how to provide services remotely when possible and appropriate. Accepting this year's Nonprofit of the Year award is Executive Director Melinda Williams and Deputy Director Debbie McCann.
Hi. As Lisa said, CAV was begun 43 years ago, and it was in direct response because there were domestic violence murders and sexual assaults that happened in our community. Community members became individually as family members, and businesses stood up and said enough, and that's how Community Against Violence was created. It is very much a part of who we are and what we do and why we exist. Over 43 years, we only exist and continue to because of the community support from amazing places like Taos Community Foundation and all of our incredible business sponsors, including Taos News, as well as individuals like yourselves. And if you want to see that continue, to thrive and grow and adjust, then we want to invite you. Tomorrow is our 19th annual Radiothon, and it's where we raise enough money in a single day that'll help match the program's grant monies that are required to come in, and they're all like so very important. And on top of some of the words that I could ever say why this is so important in our community is that we have a quote from a survivor that says it best. She said, "They told me to call CAV. The lady on the hotline was very reassuring, which I desperately needed, and said they would find me a safe place for me somewhere, thank God. When a woman is threatened and has nowhere to turn, the voice of a hope that is offered on your hotline is like a lifeline thrown to a drowning victim." So I want to thank you all for helping us be here, and I want to thank Community Foundation and all of your members who helped make this possible, and Debbie McCann, who's a returning staff member after 20 years. Yeah. Thank you.
And Melinda, I'm going to hand you the grant check. Okay, so we are going to move on to passing out the beautiful glass bears. Roy Cunningham and his forefathers helped put Taos on the map in the town's early days, and through land donations and other community assistance has made a difference in the lives of countless Taoseños. Roy's ancestors moved to Taos from Germany more than 100 years ago, and his great-grandfather built the first bank while operating a general store and a dairy farm. The family owned a great deal of property in Taos. Both Albright and Gustorf streets were named after his great-grandfathers. Roy was born in 1962 and grew up in Taos, attending both Taos Middle and high schools. He and his wife, Joni, raise pigs, goats, and chickens, and grow kale, carrots, onions, and more. Much of their produce finds its way to Taos schools as donations, promoting both healthy eating for our students and supporting local farming efforts. Roy donated land to develop many of our familiar sites and community, including Holy Cross Medical Center, the Taos Eco Park soccer field, as well as the 18 acres along Salazar Road that holds a ropes course utilized by Rocky Mountain Youth Corps. Unsung hero, Roy Cunningham.
Love Taos? Well, let's see. The first time I was introduced to agriculture in Taos, I was on search and rescue in high school. You could not get an excused absence for going and looking for somebody up in the mountains, but you could get an excused absence for bucking bales or herding sheep, which that's what it was when I grew up here. The biking, hiking, hunting, rafting, skiing, it's always all been here. It's awesome, especially when you get to know this place personally. We sold 5,200 acres to Carson National Forest of the Piccaries because you couldn't do anything else with it here because of the politics. I love Taos. Let's see, probably my first and biggest love of Taos is the Taos box. I'm one of the only idiots that'll swim down it at high water. And I'm not an idiot, it's fun. The mountains and the hunting, just walking, hiking the mountains, they're great. And actually comparing them to Colorado, because I've looked at Colorado a lot lately, Colorado's just so busy everywhere you go. You can still find places here that are yours. Other people won't be there. That's what I love. Be where nobody else will be. Well, let's see where the Eco Park is. That was donated to the Taos School Board. It's now leased for $1 a year to the town of Taos. The rodeo grounds, that was donated by the family. I used to enjoy the hell out of that when I was young because I did follow the rodeo when I was young. I even rode a bull once. That was stupid. Philemon Sanchez Park, that was donated. The hospital, the original courthouse was on a 50% donation of land. We've tried to do everything we can to help this town, even the farm. And actually, probably one of my wife's, biggest donations and my biggest donation over the last 5 to 8 years was having the kids at the farm that we created, and that was spectacular. The kids were just awesome. Ted Wired's outfit had people over there that were doing internships. The kids were awesome being there and just seeing how they responded to all of the stuff. She had classes with them that were really cool. Juicing vegetables, planting, picking, everything. That was special. We also worked with Not Forgotten Outreach some too. Unless it's all the people from the different schools bringing their kids over there from Taos Academy, UNM preschool, those were all really awesome people. Bringing the kids and enjoying it, it was spectacular. I really didn't know it at the time either. I was kind of terrified of it at the time, and then I look back at it now and go, shit, I wish that was still happening. I'd like to see Taos prosper and it's got to grow. It will grow. There's no question of that. Try and move this town forward. Joe, again, thank you. Glad to be part of the family again. Yeah, those are all things I said for sure. There's no way a lot of that could ever happen without the significant other, my wife. There's no way, especially recent. All the past donations and that's my family's always, yeah, this is where I'm from. Try to do good by the place. Though the place doesn't always try to do good by you. Politics, God, hate them. Love all the people here though, because obviously all of you folks are into this community and love it and want to see it grow and go. Me too, in whichever direction that goes. Any words to anybody at this point would be, let's try and find the right leaders, because we got the wrong ones there now. Thank you.
You've done good.
Kathy Herman. Kathy was born an Air Force brat in Germany. I did not write this, Kathy, I just want you to know. Where her father was stationed. She was one of 10 children, 8 girls and 2 boys. There are few places that Kathy has not lived. She has settled down roots in New Jersey, Georgia, Florida, Massachusetts, Indiana, and more importantly, New Mexico. She first came to Taos in 2006 when her late husband, Joe Herman, was hiring general managers in Albuquerque for his car company in Houston. He suggested she fly down for the weekend from Oregon. The weekend was successful, resulting in the purchase of property. Upon Joe's passing in 2014, Kathy made the relocation trip to Taos. In December of 2015, Kathy read in the Taos News that a woman had died in her car in the library parking lot. She questioned why Taos had both an animal shelter and a men's shelter, but nothing for homeless women. That discovery prompted Kathy to spearhead the organization of nonprofit Heart of Taos that established a 15-bed homelessness shelter for women. Kathy currently serves as co-president of the Taos Milagro Rotary Club, and I will also add a small nod that Kathy was Taos Community Foundation's Philanthropist of the Year last year, 2020. Unsung hero, Kathy Herman.
I'm Catherine Hartney Herman. People don't know my middle name here, really, but it's Kathy Herman. I founded the Heart of Taos for homeless women and children. When I got here in December of 2015, changing my whole life after my husband died, I noticed that there was nothing for homeless women and children. There was an article in a paper, the local paper, that had a story about a woman who died in her car in front of the library, and I just said, this is ridiculous. We have an animal shelter that's huge and a men's shelter. What about the women and children and the issues that they face? So I just said, am I supposed to do something about this? And I heard the voice that said, if not you, who? And that's how it started. We started Heart House, which was the old Casa de Corazon, and we had to really strip it down and clean it up. It was a disaster. It was, in my mind, was a teardown. And they gave it to us for 5 years for $5 a month for 5 years. And it saved us a lot of money, but we ended up spending over $100,000 fixing it up. And that worked really well until COVID. COVID came along, and we had 2 of our clients who were working, coming home, and they brought COVID. And 2 of our counselors got COVID. So we said, we've got to do something, change it up. So Kim Park, who is our executive director, and she's fabulous. She teamed up with Catherine Hummel and Dreamtree, and we now have a hotel program. And we have 16 hotel rooms, and it's actually working better because the spouses and significant other males and boys can be part of it. So a hotel room can take a family or an individual, whatever's needed. Well, there's not enough of them right now, and they fall short in many ways. And I think the world is changing how they view women in crisis. It was usually based on, oh, well, you must be, a drug addict or an alcoholic, or you're mentally ill, and certainly that is possible. But there are a lot of women who are in sketchy situations and dangerous situations that they've compromised in order to have a roof over their head and food for their children. I just don't like seeing women have to face those crises that are unnecessary. If we had a more egalitarian society, more inclusive, and I just have this drive to help people. I've had some really wonderful people help me with this project, and I'm ever so grateful. And now it's taken a life on its own, and if I should die tomorrow, it will still survive. How's that? And that was my goal. Hi. This is a little nerve-wracking, but I'm really glad I'm here. I am really glad to be part of the 10 unsung heroes that have been chosen this year. I feel really fortunate, and having done this project, after I heard those words, if not you, who, I realized I really had to do this. And I have to thank my husband for leaving me enough money to get this started. He'd be really thrilled that I'm doing something on my own. I really want to thank everyone at the Community Foundation, because that gave me some balance. Lisa's been great support for me. I've never done anything like this before, but I just knew it needed it. And having 8 girls in my family and lots of cousins, female, that we needed something for women. Women need to be protected. And most of us are pretty darn independent and self-sufficient, but there's a lot of us that are not, and they need our help. It's something very near and dear to me, and I hope it lasts for a long time. Things are going to change after COVID goes away. We'll have to have another direction, but we've gotten a lot of community support, and I can't thank all the people, all the Tauseños here who've been supportive. Kim Park especially, and our staff have been relentless in getting the work done, and it's a lot of work. So with that, I thank you very much, and congratulations to all of the other unsung heroes. I can't wait to hear your stories.
Congratulations. Judy Weinrobe. Judy didn't begin life's journey in Taos, but few people have had as much of an impact on this community. Originally from Dallas, Judy moved to the Enchanted Circle a little over 10 years ago and dove right into community organizational work. She was an avid gardener back in Texas, where she also worked in the banking industry for 35 years. So Judy decided to try Los Jardineros, the garden club of Taos, where she quickly joined the Garden and Home Tour Committee. Los Jardineros has given grants to the past to the Taos Center for the Arts, Taos Youth and Family Center, and various schools. Shortly after moving to Taos, Judy got involved in various political campaigns, both local to presidential, even taking on the lead in the Taos efforts for the 2012 Obama campaign. Always looking to do more, Judy branched out into other community organizations, joining both the Taos County Historical Society, where she serves as treasurer, and Taos Feeds Taos. Though many in Taos recognize Judy, until now, she hasn't gotten the acclaim that she truly deserves. Unsung hero, Judy Weinrobe.
Hello, I'm Judy Weinrobe. I live in Taos, New Mexico. I've been here for almost 10 years, and I intend to spend the rest of my life here in Taos, New Mexico, because I think it's the greatest place on earth. I grew up in a small town, and my family was poor. I didn't even realize it. But my parents always encouraged us to help other people and to contribute to different organizations. Even though we had very little, we had enough we could share. And so I've always grown up with that attitude that that's what you need to do. And I've just found that we all want the same things. I don't care where you live, what country you live in, what your socioeconomic background is. We all want something better for our children. We want to not necessarily have an easy life, but to have a comfortable life, to feel like we're making a difference in this world. And I guess that's what I strive for, is to make a difference. If I can help someone in some way, I want to do it. So when I came to Taos, I had a call from the Obama campaign. It was his second election, and they asked if I wanted to be involved again, thinking I would be in Dallas. And I said, yes, I would, but I'll be in Taos, New Mexico. And they went, oh, okay. So I got hooked up with the group here, and I worked on the phone banks for that election cycle, and I talked to probably every man, woman, and child in Taos, New Mexico during that period, whether they came into the office or I just talked to them on the phone. So from that, I met so many people and got involved in different groups because of those introductions. And fortunately, during that time, I met the Cordovas. From that, I got involved in Taos Feeds Taos, the Historical Society, and then also I got involved with the Los Jardineros, the garden club of Taos, and I've enjoyed it. I think early on, when I was working in my banking career, I felt like, and I was a manager, I always managed maybe anywhere from 5 to 15 people at any job I had. We meant something to the people that reported to me. And sorry, I remembered one incident, this young woman had made a mistake, and it was a pretty big mistake. And so I said, well, we've got to tell the officer in charge about this. And so the two of us went to visit this woman who was pretty tough, and I said, we made a mistake, this is what has happened, but this is how we're correcting it. And I made sure I had a solution before I had the meeting. And when I got back to my office, this young woman came in and she said, I cannot tell you how it made me feel for you to take responsibility and say we, and not just say she did it. And I just feel that way. It's none of this is an individual, it's all a we. No matter what organization or job you're working in, it's a collaborative effort. And we should take the blame and we should take the glory. So that's kind of where it comes from, I think. Thank you, Taos News, for this honor and this celebration. You know, most of my friends and people that I know in Taos are very involved in different organizations. They really take a feeling of pride in helping our community do better. Occasionally I run across someone who says, I'm so bored, there's just nothing to do in Taos. And I just shake my head. I'm like, you know, then maybe you need to go somewhere else. That's just how I feel about it. Because there's just so many things that one person can do to make a difference in this community. And I hope, and I see all of these people here tonight who have taken that attitude and have made a difference. But first of all, I would like to thank my parents, my late parents, Bill and Rachel Wood, for building me and for giving me the values that I try to live by every day. Next, I'd like to thank my husband, Michael Weinrobe. His love gives me the courage and the strength to do what I do every day. He's very special. And I would also like to thank my Taos mentors, Francis and Ernestina Cordova. They have shown me the way and have given me so many opportunities to use my skills to help in this community. And I think we will continue that collaboration going forward. And lastly, I would just like to thank the people of Taos for embracing me. This is a wonderful community. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to help. Thank you.
So we see love, we see friendship, we see incredible spirit as we all move towards moving through our next Unsung Heroes. I want to say thanks to the crew over here. There's a lot of fiddling that goes on behind the scenes, and I just want to say thank you. It's good stuff. Benito Concha. Though Benito spent his first 16 years of his life in Colorado Springs, his connection and calling to Taos Pueblo overtook him. And at the height of his teen years, he decided to return to his ancestral home, which has since been his home base. Showing up in Taos from Colorado, things were different. One thing he noticed immediately was a lack of soccer, a sport Benito had grown to love. Benito is not necessarily known for his initiation of a soccer team, but rather for the work he went on to do after graduating from Taos High School. With his parents active in the Colorado Native American community, Benito was no stranger to dancing, drumming, and other traditions. He said that dancing took him on many journeys around the country, but it wasn't just dance that showed him the world. With the addition of drums, he has found another powerful tool to connect and to teach. But back at Taos Pueblo, he began to take interest in the healing work his uncles were doing. As he learned little by little from his uncles, he came to the realization in 2012 that there was a lack of bodywork services offered on the Pueblo, and he felt called to fill that void. Along with bringing spiritual music, teaching, and massage to those seeking help, Benito has also spent time working in a more crucial capacity at Taos Pueblo, where he has served on the tribal government on 4 different terms, as well as part of the war chief's staff. Unsung hero, Benito Concha.
No'o ampan no'o. My name is Benito Concha. I'm from Taos Pueblo. I live here in the place of our ancestors, where we have existed for many, many, many centuries. In my life, I do a lot of dancing, singing, drumming, body work, and building, sewing, whatever it may be. I was taught to always learn whatever you can, so one day when you have to do something, you're not looking to somebody else to do these jobs for you and do this work for you. Plus, if you want to do it correctly, you do it yourself. I grew up part-time in Taos. I grew up in Colorado Springs, Colorado. My mother and father. Now, they always encouraged us to go to school. They always encouraged us to learn as much as we can and anything that was going on and do the best we can at it. And in that time, the time we spent out of school, we spent it at the Pueblo with the elders and the grandparents. So what has guided me in my life is love. My grandparents always said, love one another, love each other. My parents as well. So moving forward in life with the love, you start to understand and be less destructive to your surroundings and your environment. You see the animals, the deer, the bear, they're still doing their thing year after year, hibernating, feeding, going to their feeding grounds. They're not trying to do any more. They're just here doing what is naturally best for them. And whenever something is asked of you, the intention always has to be in the goodness from your heart. So when you go and do it, everything becomes a very tranquil and peaceful event. And so many times people have come forward, asked me to go do a performance or go do some body work or even present something. It's always done with the good intention of what I've learned of how this land and how to be on this land and how to treat it in a more peaceful, serene way.
Benito's working the crowd.
I know this is an honor for me and to receive this. As you can see this, it's a beautiful bear. I talked about the bear in hibernation. I think there's one more person I didn't get to give this hoop to. This is a red willow hoop. Taos Pueblo, we're known as the red willow people. And I do a dance called the hoop dance. I've traveled all over the world dancing this dance. My message is this hoop of life represents all of us. There isn't a corner, we're all somewhere on this hoop. And when we move forward in life as human beings with all life, we're not above or below anyone else. the animals, we're all the same. So the reason why I gave you these hoops is because, like I said, this represents the hoop of life. And as human beings, we try to manipulate nature. But for you heroes and recipients, this is a reminder to take with you, since we all went through this together at this time. It's a reminder that the hoop of life is very fragile. And if you twist it and turn it and manipulate it to fit your need, you'll break it. So this hoop is made with new willow I picked this morning, and I made these hoops for each and every one of you. It'll get old, and it'll start getting brittle, and you'll see. So throughout, wherever you are, put it in your office, wherever you work, and think about the sacredness of that hoop of life. And that's the teaching we bring from Taos Pueblo. I'm not here as just myself. I'm here as a tribal member. I learned these things from my ancestors, my family. And it's very important that I acknowledge everyone at the Pueblo, because that's who I am and that's who has made me. And these teachings and these dances and these songs are very powerful. And this is what I grew up doing. This is what I grew up sharing. And every once in a while in this community of Taos, you know, I see different places that this hoop is being not protected. And the work that you're doing, and everyone in this room and past recipients, and even our our town government, the county government, be aware of what you're doing. And I think one of these hoops needs to be in every government office to remind everyone what fragility we live in. So that's the purpose for the hoop. And just want to thank Taos News now for this nomination for Unsung Hero. You know, at first I was like, well, what do I do? You know, seriously, what do I do? I do so many things. What part, what aspect is it? And I think about what more recently I've been doing in my life, and it's been the body work, massage. Medicine Mountain Massage is named after my uncle, my closest uncle. He brought the knowledge to me, and I grasped it and cherished it. I still do. So that's what I've been doing, and all the elders at the Pueblo, I've been giving them body work, you know, and I don't take insurance. I don't know how to work that. I just forget it. And money doesn't really matter at times when you're working with elders. I was talking with our friend here, my new friend here, Val, and you know, there's people that need that attention, especially in this pandemic time where we need the touch. So I just want to thank my father, my mom, my mother for teaching me these things. Thank you very much. My father was a past recipient of this award, Mr. Mike Kunchup, previous governor. And I also want to thank Catherine for encouraging me to move forward with this. So I just want everyone to know that we at the Taos Pueblo are looking. We're paying attention to what's going on in the community. And so you all take care of yourselves and have a good evening, and thank you very much.
Pauline Mondragon is next. When people walk into Holy Cross Medical Center, it often isn't their best day, which is why it's so important to be greeted by people like Pauline. An ever-present staple of the Holy Cross Medical Center gift shop, Pauline has spent years helping people find the perfect gift to cheer themselves or their loved ones up. In fact, Pauline is such a trusted and beloved member of the Holy Cross Medical Center team that she is often seen in the emergency room and other areas of the hospital as a volunteer. When not giving selflessly to others at the hospital, she is an active member of the Taos Catholic community, spending her free time at church and charity functions. Pauline is also a cancer survivor, or more accurately, she is currently beating cancer. Pauline was diagnosed in 2016 and has been fighting ever since. But she has other fights too. These fights come in the form of tackling hunger and sickness in Taos. As an active member of the local Catholic parish, she is constantly helping shelters and organizing fundraising events. She is on the board of Taos Feeds Taos and volunteers her free time at Holy Cross Medical Center. These are the things she has devoted her life to, and her career is no different. Pauline, now long retired, worked for decades with Taos Municipal Schools and over 10 years with Kit Carson Electric Co-op in both bookkeeping departments. Unsung hero, Pauline Mondragon.
My name is Pauline Mondragon. Well, I'm married. It's going to be 60 years in December that I've been married to my husband, Leroy Mondragon. We've got 3 daughters. Since we've been married, I've been a lecturer for the mystery painting, and I was CCD coordinator for 18 years with the church. And I had children's choir, and then I've done volunteer work at the hospital, the gift shop, and the ER, the emergency room. And then until the COVID started, then I had to retire from that for a while. Meeting people, that's where I meet people, where I've worked. And I've had good relationships with a lot of people. And I'm a people person. I like to be around people. So I know a lot of people from the county around, from Cuesta, Peñasco, and these areas. I know a lot of people that I get involved with. Well, I was diagnosed in April of 2016. And so they did surgery, and I have had 15 chemo treatments and 27 radiation. But I feel good, I just get tired. So that's why I have slowed down in volunteering and doing something for the church or something like that, because I have to keep away from people as much as I can. Oh, this my scapular, when I was taking radiation, one of the workers at the desk, he didn't even ask me my religion, he just gave it to me, so I wear it every day. Well, faith means that God is always with us. I mean, there's nobody else that you can turn to but God. He's our Savior. And you have to keep your faith strong. Well, they have people that are always telling me they're praying for me. That gives me a lot of energy. And there's a lot of people that I tell them that's why I'm still here, because there's so many people praying for me. To my husband, he's taken it okay. He helps me a lot at home because I've got a rotator cuff tear and I can't do much with my right hand, with my right arm. And so I tell him, let me do what I can. What I can't do, I'll let you know. Thank you for having us here tonight. I was really surprised when I was nominated, and I wonder who nominated me. But anyways, I've been trying to work as much as I can. So I'd like to thank the foundation, and I'd like to thank Taos News and the community of Taos for all the help that they've done for me. And so that would be it. You saw my video, and I've been married for it's going to be 60 years. So we've had a good life. Thank you again.
Pauline, I don't know what slow down means for you. I'm quite impressed. Thank you. Malachias Rael. Anyone who's ever spent any time in the village of Cuesta knows him. The business owner and community and civic leader has spent his life putting down roots and lifting others up in the heart of the Rio Grande. Malachias was born in Taos in 1962, whose parents opened Cuesta Lumber and Hardware in 1953. He earned a degree in accounting from the College of Santa Fe and began to balance the books for his parents. Once he began helping customers in the front of the shop, he soon discovered he was a natural salesman. While he continues to help run the family Cuesta Lumber and Hardware, he has added North Star Tire and Auto and CarQuest Auto Parts as a business he owns and operates. As he got into politics and has served as a village councilor before becoming mayor in Cuesta in 2006, unsung hero Malachias Rael.
Israel, and I'm from Cuesta, New Mexico. I lived here all my life, or pretty much all my life. My family's from Cuesta and has been here for quite a long time. We have some family businesses that keep us here, and that's really great. Well, my mom and dad started Cuesta Lumber and Hardware back in 1953. So I grew up in the hardware business. That was where I was employed. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my parents, how to talk to people, how to interact with customers, and I think that was really a great experience for me. It's something that no education can give you. The mine will go up and down with business. Mining industry is always cyclical, and so you have the ups and downs, and that makes it very challenging for us to do business, but we were able to survive. I really love living here in Cuesta. This is my home. I feel like I don't ever want to leave. It's, to me, the most wonderful place. And there's so many people. We have so many different cultures here, if you will. And I think sometimes that's missing now with the younger generation, is that you don't have that interaction with the older. And if you really want to learn a lot, that's where you're going to do it. You're going to learn so much from their experience. It's almost like you get your own experiences, right? But the experiences that they have to offer are like priceless, and so that's what I want to do, share that. And so it's a challenge though, because we have a lot of kids that move away because they feel like there's nothing here in Cuesta. It might be that true, but I think that we really are at a turning point in our community, because when the mine shut down in 2014, it really changed our community. No longer ever will we ever depend on employment from the mine. So then we had to really see, how do we transform our community? And it requires a lot of community involvement. One man, you can't do nothing. One person, you accomplish very little. But when you're a part of a group of people, you accomplish a lot. And I had been involved in politics, if you will. I call it local government. I had been involved in that for 12 years. I was a councilor, and then I was a mayor. And then I was part of organizations that were able to have the seat at the table, if you will, and say, okay, well, how do we determine what our future is going to look like? And I've been a part of that, and in different groups. The restoration of the church was, really big, and we had a wonderful group of volunteers and people, just to be part of that is fantastic. This was probably the best volunteer job I've ever been in, and where you're working with people, and it was fantastic. I just love it, and I wish I could just be more involved with that. That's part of our faith too, is that you have an obligation to serve God. Bob Dylan said you got to serve somebody. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do, you have to serve somebody. And for me, it's serving God. Wow, if I would have known I would have to speak for a couple of minutes, I wouldn't have had that second glass of wine. I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm very thankful to the committee and to all the foundation and to all the folks who have recommended me and Ernestine, I'm going to get you. I'm very happy to be part of a community of people who always want to give and be part of something greater than themselves. It is interesting that where we learn our things, my mom and dad were big, I'm very grateful for my mom and dad because they're always part of our community. And I'm very grateful for my wife, who has been part of our communities very much too, and for allowing me to do what I have to do because my yard shows that I am not home a lot. But it is wonderful, and I hope that more people will want to give and do and be part of something greater than themselves. Because if you want to accomplish something, it takes more than one person. And I think I'm a testament to that because I've been part of a lot of organizations and do it selfishly, and you all know that well. What do they say? It's preaching to the choir. But you do it because you do it. You don't expect any reward, and you don't want any recognition. And this was sort of hard when they told me about this too, because it was like, well, do I have to? But some folks convinced me that it was good for my community, and that's why I said, okay, we'll do it for Cuesta. And it's a great little place to be part of. It has a lot of history, and it's worth living there, and it's worth being someone in Cuesta who wants to make sure that what you do is worthwhile. It doesn't have to go into the annals of history, but when you pass and your children, maybe they'll want to continue doing what you did, because that's what I did. And I hope that my kids will want to always be part of the community wherever they are and wherever they belong to, because life is worth living. And when you do it right, or I hope you do it right, when you do what you have to do, it's a joy. And you know that you are serving, and you're serving God. And that's the way I see it. You're not doing it for anything else. And that's the joy that I have. And it's a wonderful experience. So thank you very much. Thank you for this recognition. And I hope that more people from our community can say, okay, I want to do that. I want to be part of that. I want to do. I want to be. I want to work. And I don't care if anybody says anything good or bad about me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
I am not a baseball watcher, but I think this would be, if we were doing programming at a baseball, this would be the 7th inning stretch. We are not going to sing. I'm not going to tell you can get up and go to the restroom. We're not taking intermissions. Remember, this is live, and we're not taking any breaks. I do want to take another quick minute to just thank Beto and Ruben from Razor Sharp Productions. It's been an amazing night tonight, not just because we're hearing beautiful, heartfelt stories and watching our community in a really beautiful way, but I'm going to say we've not had any glasses break. No one has tripped on a cord. There's not been any wardrobe malfunctions that I'm aware of, so far we're doing really good. Our next person probably could lead us through a 7th inning song. I'm partly teasing around this because none of the honorees know who's coming next. So if you're thinking back on those, I'm thinking already about, 3rd grade when you were gonna get picked for some team and you were always the last person because I could never throw a baseball. So somehow baseball's coming up for me tonight. Our next honoree, Betty Meyerson. Betty moved to Taos in 1984 and has been an active volunteer and one always willing to help another one in need. Betty is a founder and current board member of the nonprofit Taos Elders and Neighbors Together, also known as TENT. TENT represents a membership community of elders and neighbors who assist each other with transportation, caregiver relief, home repair, shopping, and other services. She is a member of the St. James Empty Bowl Committee, which is part of a national grassroots effort to distribute food to community members. Betty also assists with Taos Immigrant Allies, a group that supports immigrant families in Taos, which during this past COVID year saw a tremendous need for additional assistance. Betty was instrumental in helping to raise $80,000 for that effort. Betty has also been involved in the Taos Jewish Center for years and is the treasurer of B'nai Havurah. Funny that I messed up on the treasurer word. Apart from her involvement in the Jewish community, she is also a recognizable figure in the interfaith community. Every year in December, Betty directs an interfaith service that brings together members of different religions in Taos. In addition to all of her volunteer work, Betty also had a career in the helping field. For nearly 30 years, I have to tell you this, when I got some of this information, what was written was she finally retired. So I don't know who wrote the finally in, but okay. So I'll correct myself. Betty also had a career in the helping field. For nearly 30 years, she finally retired as the finance director for Mountain Home Healthcare, a nonprofit organization that provides nursing care and home services as well as hospice care. When Betty is not helping the community in other ways, she is singing. She is a prominent voice in the Threshold Choir, which sings at the bedside of hospice patients. She has also been singing with the St. James Choir and the Taos Community Choir since the 1990s. Unsung hero, Betty Meyerson.
Hi, I'm Betty Meyerson. I want to tell everyone that the luckiest day of my life was June 21st, 1984. That was the day that I moved to Taos. And I couldn't be happier to be in this wonderful place with all these wonderful people. There is a saying in Jewish tradition, tikkun olam, which means repairing the world. And it's our duty to help each other and do what we can to make the world a better place. My mother tells me that, I was talking to her about this the other day, that my mother is 101 and a half, by the way, that my grandfather, her father, came to this country as an immigrant. I remember him as having a thick accent his whole life. He came from Lithuania. But he sponsored other people so that they could come and participate in the American dream as well, which is inspiring to me. This is not an easy time we're living in, and we need to try to be kind to each other, cut each other slack and ourselves, because things are tough. We still have to wear masks, we still can't go places, and there is a virus that's harming a lot of people, and so hang in there and keep going. We have lots of needs in this community. That's probably true almost anywhere, but lots of people get together to do what they can to help advocate with the government and with fundraising and with everything they can to help each other. You know, it's terribly sad that so many people here don't have a place to live, and can't manage to, you know, find a good, safe place to live. And of course, the food security is a huge, huge issue here. We have the St. James Food Pantry. We also have the shared table at El Pueblito, which does a fine, fine job, and the little food pantries and all kinds of other things that people do for each other because people don't have enough to eat. They can't earn enough money to buy enough to feed their families. And for a so-called first world, progressive, advanced country, it's really sad. And I believe in doing what we can to help make things better. Thank you so much to the Taos News, to the Taos Community Foundation for holding this event for 21 years, to the selection committee for all your hard work, and thank you for choosing me. It's a privilege to be with all of you amazing folks who are being honored tonight. As it said, I've been living in this wonderful community for 37 years, which is nearly half of my life. President Kennedy said, "For those to whom much has been given, much is required." I try to live by these words, knowing that I'm one of the lucky ones, and it's my duty to give back as much as I can. Thank you so much for including me in this group of wonderful people. You don't need me to tell you that this is a difficult time everywhere in the world. My advice to us all, and I do include myself, is to hang in there, keep on keeping on, and do all you do. In whatever way you can to help each other, family, friends, community, and the nation and the world. Give what you can in terms of time, money, and small and large acts of kindness. Above all, let's be kind to each other. Blessings to you all. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. Regarding our Interfaith Peace Hanukkah service, it will be again this year on Zoom on Tuesday night, November 30th at 5:30. You can get the link from the Taos Jewish Center website. I think you'll find it really inspiring and really interesting. So many wonderful members of our community, like tonight, participate. Thank you.
Anita Bringus. Being good at organizing, connecting the dots, and many things others aren't exactly sure how to accomplish, often lands with a very vague title like Strategic Support Manager. Such is the case for Anita, who currently holds this title at the University of New Mexico, Taos. Growing up in a small suburb of Chicago, Anita was far away from Taos, but her connection to the area and community runs deep. Her mother was born here, and her grandparents have been in the area as long as Anita can remember. As Anita was figuring out what to do after leaving Chicago, she came to spend time with her mom in Taos, and her mom is here with her tonight. It was during this time when she was offered a summer internship at the Taos Chamber of Commerce, where she worked for a number of years. Through her work with the chamber, she became more familiar with the movers and shakers in Taos. I'd like to know who those were at that time, Anita. And heard about an administrative position opening at UNM Taos. In 2010, she applied for the position and became an administrative coordinator. From there, she went on to receive a bachelor's degree and ultimately her master's degree in public administration. In 2019, Anita moved into her current position as Strategic Support Manager, which she said is a title somewhat unique to UNM Taos, but operates similarly to how a chief of staff might operate at a four-year college. At UNM Taos, Anita says her job description is trying to keep the community in community college. She also refers to herself as the eyes and ears of the campus community. Anita is also her mother's caretaker. She feels a deep sense of connection to her family and the local community, which she strives every day to protect and preserve. Unsung hero, Anita Bringus.
I'm Anita Nestora Bringus. I'm the daughter and 14th child of Isabel Nestora Cisneros and Tomas Ireneo Bringus. I've been working with UNM Taos for about 10 years, where I currently serve as the Strategic Support Manager for campus. That position entails several different things, but a big part of what I do is work in the community, identifying partnerships, building relationships, and opportunities for collaboration so we can serve as a community college. So I'm fortunate to live with my mom in our family home that she was born and raised in, that my grandparents, Tobias and Refugio, built in the 30s. I'm so fortunate that the Taos community has been so supportive of me. And even though I didn't grow up here or spend a whole lot of time here when I was a child, Taos is the first place that I have felt any sense of roots and sense of place and belonging. The community has been hugely supportive, and I'm really fortunate to have a strong circle of friends that we've been through everything together, through celebrations and mornings and everything in between. I have a very strong and supportive spiritual community that keeps me connected, that has really taught me the meaning of acceptance and unconditional love, and they keep me grounded and connected. And I've developed a really amazing group of professional colleagues and peers who since early on recognized something in me that I didn't, a potential that they have continued to support and nurture and guide me as I strive to achieve that. Really everything that I am and everything that I do is because of my mom. She modeled and instilled in me at a very young age and throughout my life a sense of work ethic and a spirit of service. And all of that I am and all that I do is really because of what she has shown me and taught me and the support that she has given me to be able to do those things. I can't imagine being anywhere else in Taos. I've been fortunate to live various places in the country. I've had the opportunity to travel to some really exciting places, but I can't imagine being anywhere else besides Taos, New Mexico. For me, Taos has given me so much and has provided a platform and an opportunity for me to share of my own gifts and skills and time. And I think where I see myself in the future is here. My hope, my goal is to live out my life in Taos, New Mexico, to continue my career at UNM Taos and hopefully retire from here someday, and continue the good work that we're doing across the community. As we have learned, the best work and the most meaningful work comes with collaboration across the community. We've seen that across campus, and I hope that I can continue to be a part of that.
Thank you. Before I start, I want to take a minute to share something that I had not planned on or prepared, but I think is important. I had forgotten. There's a lot that I had forgotten. And then Mr. Benito came up, and he shared some words, and he shared this gift. And it helped me remember. It helped me remember what's important. So I thank you. Thank you for helping me remember. In all the years that I've been attending this event, hanging out in the back of the room with my girlfriends and a Taos News team, anxiously awaiting the unveiling of the portraits, I never imagined that I would find myself standing on this side of the podium someday. It's a little surreal, and it's a little overwhelming, and my heart is so full. To the selection committee, made up of people that I have respected and admired over the years, thank you for bringing voice to my name and to my story. And when I imagine that moment, it's significant to me because it helps me to remember that what I do matters. What each of us do matters. So I thank you for that. To the Taos Community Foundation, who through their support and sponsorship of Tradiciones has allowed the names of so many hundreds of voices, of names to be voiced and stories to be heard. And in doing so, has shined light on the goodness that surround us. So thank you, and there's so much good in our community. To the Taos News, you've outdone yourselves again. I thank you for gathering us here together tonight in a good way and in a safe way. I thank you for the work that you've done in preparing for this celebration and for the annual Tradiciones and for telling our community stories. Thank you. To UNM Taos, to past and current leadership and colleagues, thank you for challenging me, for supporting me, and for giving me the opportunity to serve our campus and our community. As a graduate and a 10-year employee of our community's college, UNM Taos has changed my life for the better, and for that I'm so grateful. Whatever I may have contributed, Taos has given back to me 100-fold. There are so many of you that have been there for me over the years, and especially in these relentlessly challenging last 2 years. You have shown up in numbers too many to count, and with an impact too far to measure. You're why I'm here tonight. I love you, and thank you for loving me. Before I close, there's one person whose name I want to bring voice to tonight. And that is Isabel Nestora Cisneros Bringas, my mom. You may have met her tonight, and you may have been introduced to her as, this is Isabel, Anita's mom. That happens a lot in functions like this. My mom is not only my +1 tonight, but she's my #1. Mom, I can't see you in this light, but you're my #1 priority, my #1 supporter, and you're the #1 reason that I am who I am and that I do what I do. And I'm so blessed to be Isabel's daughter. I love you, Mom, and I accept this word tonight in your name and in your honor. Thank you.
Okay, I need a 7th inning stretch. I have to just comment for a minute. The love and the attention and the heart in this room is palpable. So for those of you who are watching at home, I hope you see it. I hope you feel it. And again, just congratulations to every single person in this room, because I think what we've seen is it's unsung heroes, and then it's the unsung heroes who are connected to the unsung heroes who are connected to the unsung heroes. So I can't say enough to all of you. Well done. Lisa Abeta Valerio takes the term multitasking to a whole new level. There were chuckles in the background after I said that. To start, Lisa is a Taos native who graduated from Taos High School and went on to attend New Mexico Highlands University, where she naturally was on the cheer team. After graduation, she returned to her hometown and began coaching and teaching. Now she is the assistant principal at Taos High School, where she positively impacts the lives of nearly 800 students under her watch every single day. Lisa has been involved in teaching and other aspects of the Taos education system for 23 years and made it her personal mission to guide Taos High School through the pandemic with a ton of help from the staff, teachers, and students that she works with. This year, it is especially important to recognize Lisa's hard work, handling COVID and dealing with remote learning, the safety of students, and making sure everyone's educational targets remained on track were all the extra elements that needed attention. Lisa has plenty to cheer about. Luckily, she is an expert in cheering. The longtime Taos High School cheer team coach is considered one of the best coaches in the state. Lisa has led her Taos High School cheer team to 7 state championships in her 20-year career. Unsung hero, Lisa Abeta Valerio.
I'm Lisa Abeta Valerio. I am the assistant principal at Taos High School and the head varsity cheerleading coach for Taos High School as well. I have been doing it for 13 years. It's been a ride. I think if we could write a book, we'd have a lot to say. It's been a lot of fun though. I started teaching in Taos at Taos Middle School, 7th grade in 1993 and have been in the district since then. I grew up here in Taos and went to school here in Taos, and so I just really wanted to come home. So it's been an honor to work with kids from here for so many years. But as an assistant, I mean, we see some amazing things and some really amazing kids, and we've helped a lot of kids, and it's a really rewarding, fun job. It's been 11 years. I was diagnosed in 2010. I was 40, and I was a whirlwind. My youngest was 4. It was a crazy time, and I think it's a crazy time for women in general, but I learned so much from it, and it made me so much stronger. It really drove a lot of who I became. So it was a trip. But the community, like, being from Taos and being in this school, because it was my 2nd year as an assistant principal when I was diagnosed, it was crazy. The kids were amazing. They supported me, my colleagues, my principal, everybody. It was amazing. It was, I would come to work every day no matter what, just because it kept me going. And so when I was done with it and I realized, you know what, the one thing I always loved was coaching. I loved it. And so I said, I'm going back. And my oldest daughter was a sophomore, and she was a cheerleader, and their coach was retiring, who was a good friend, Emmy, Miss Emmy, who you know. She was one of my cheerleaders at one point. My first round of coaching, she was going to walk away from coaching. She didn't want to anymore, and it was a perfect time. I walked back into it, and I've been back at it for 9 years, I think. So I've been coaching about 20 years. But I wanted kids to know that life's not always easy, but you can get through anything. If you work hard, you have faith, you're focused, and you have a family around you to support you. That's my goal, to teach kids. And through cheerleading, that's an avenue I can teach. And they just amaze me every day. They do exactly that. And so it's pretty awesome. I want them to remember to always believe in themselves, and that they are capable of anything they want. If we always just remember that tomorrow's a new day, and put your best foot forward, stay positive, stay focused, and work hard, it's gonna be okay. You know, you'll get you'll get there. Like, it may not be instant, and that's hard for a lot of young people today. They're in an instant, everything's instant. They want it fast. And I just want them to realize that it just, nose to the ground, work hard, push, don't stop, focus, and it's going to work out. And to have faith and belief in themselves and their family, their community, not necessarily just the family, but the community around them, the people they choose to have around them. I am a mother first, a daughter, and an educator and a coach, and I'm very proud of it. I'd really like to thank everybody, and this is a huge honor. And I've always, I've grown up here and I love my town. And I've been honored to work with the kids in this community for a very long time. It's been 28 years that I started teaching, 28, and everybody asks me, when are you going to retire? And I don't really know. I always say 3 years, and we'll see. But it's hard for me to say that this was, I don't ever look at myself as a hero, but I was sitting here listening to these amazing people and all of their stories, and I just got thinking about the people that have had such an impact on me and my life. And I'd like to thank my husband, because let me tell you, multitasking is what I do, and he has to sacrifice a lot for that. And my parents, Ana Abeta and Eddie Abeta, are amazing, and taught me just to be a part of the community and to love each other and guide each other. And my teams, I've been fortunate to work with probably 4,000 students and probably coach close to 500 girls. And every single one of them has touched my life and made me stronger. And I'm honored to coach along the women I coach with, and my team is practicing right now with those coaches and probably not watching, but they amaze me every day. The youth in this community, they are strong and resilient and focused, and they're warriors, and I think we all are in this town. And I taught New Mexico history once upon a time in 7th grade when I first started, and I was always amazed how Taos was always a part of every single turning point in New Mexico's history, and I think we still do today. And I really am just honored to be here among all of you, and I want to thank you, and I want to remind everybody that we're together always in this, and together we're stronger. And thank you very much.
Valdemar de Herrera will turn 102 this coming Friday, making him one of the oldest surviving members of the Battle of Bataan. Born in Castilla in 1919 to Melitón and Lupita de Herrera, Valdemar was one of 14 children who learned the value of a hard day's work on a ranch at their homestead. Valdemar served as a member of the United States Army in World War II, where he ended up serving in the Battle of Bataan in the Philippines in 1942. He was one of approximately 1,800 New Mexicans who served alongside Filipino soldiers. Less than half of those New Mexicans made it home after the long battle ended with the infamous Bataan Death March. Valdemar was not one of those forced to march, however, and was among a small group of men who chose to stay and fight, even as they ran out of weapons and resources. While hiding in a bunker with several other soldiers, they were eventually found by Japanese forces and taken as prisoners of war. Valdemar said he was close to death twice during the ensuing years, but thanks to people he called his guardian angels, he survived. In February of 1945, Bataan was finally reclaimed by American and Filipino forces, and Valdemar was honorably discharged. It was then that the happier side of his life began, with a marriage to Consuelo Connie de Vargas in 1979. The couple started a family that has grown in size over the generations. 8 children, 18 grandchildren, and 28 great-grandchildren. During his post-war life, he worked for the New Mexico Highway Department for 3 years before coming to the general foreman at Molycorp Mine for the next 26 years. Unsung hero Valdemar de Herrera.
I am Valdemar E. Herrera from Costilla, New Mexico. It is a good life here. I was born October the 8th, 1919. Life has been good to me. Yeah. I also went to war in Korea, but I was at war for 4 years. After 4 years, I came back. Most of my friends, I lost them down there in the Philippines. But I was lucky. I'm what they call one of the Bataan survivors. When I came back, after I came back, I met Consuelo de Vargas. I married her, and she's from Taos. I have this ranch here. It's 90 acres, and I also have another piece of land in the other side of the river, which 89 acres also land. Well, we made a nice living here. Actually, we raise all our food from back here. That's right. We bought very few things from the store. We used to plant here corn and potatoes, and I'm healthy. I have nothing to bother me. I'm pretty healthy. A little bit of, I don't eat a very good thing, so I use earrings to hear people talk to me. My son-in-law and another sister live here. They do the farming. They plant alfalfa and alfalfa. The elks come every day down here. A lot of elks back there, close to the mountain there. I lost my wife 2 years ago. And when she gave me 5 girls, 1 boy, and I'm grateful for that.
So, yes. It's a live event, remember? And you can't see what's in front of me. So that was obviously a well-deserved standing ovation. Because it's live, we can kind of change things up with a moment's notice, which is what we're doing. So accepting the award this evening is Valdemar's daughter, Lydia Peterson. She's going to come up. And then what we're going to do is do a quick changeover. And because it's a birthday, we have to sing happy birthday. So I'm going to ask everyone who's watching at home, whether or not you are watching it live or you are watching it at midnight tonight, please stand up and please join this room with singing happy birthday. But come on up.
I want to thank all the sponsors, and especially Ernestina, for nominating my dad. We are very proud of you, Dad, and happy birthday. Come on. I need to go start it. Let's start it. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Valdemar. Happy birthday to you. de tu santo, en las cantamos así. Despierta, mi bien, despierta, mira que ya amaneció. Ya los pajarillos cantan, la luna ya se metió.
So we're now going to announce our Citizen of the Year. I'm going to ask John Miller, our editor, to come up.
Good evening, everyone. Every year, our selection committee, the group that chooses the unsung heroes and our Citizen of the Year, is faced with a difficult task. But this year must be one of the most difficult years to choose who to honor. For nearly 2 years now, we have seen our world change in many ways, but so have we. Many people have stepped up to meet the challenges we have faced. Parents who kept their kids from falling behind in school after classrooms closed, nurses who pulled extra shifts to respond to the waves of patients who fell ill with COVID-19 and still do, bus drivers who kept driving, cops who kept policing, essential workers of all kinds who kept showing up to keep our communities running. This time has also shown us what we can accomplish when those groups work in tandem. And we are here tonight in part to celebrate someone who has an uncanny ability of bringing them together. This person arrived in Taos, as many people do, without much of a plan or any intention to stay for the long haul, and yet here he is nearly a decade later. As a firefighter for Carson and Taos volunteer fire departments for over 6 years, he learned what it took to really help people in crisis by treating them with dignity and respect. He has worked for the New Mexico Department of Homeland Security, Santa Fe County Fire Department, New Mexico Search and Rescue, the New Mexico Department of Health, and many others. He has been chair of numerous emergency management boards and committees. Perhaps most importantly, this person has worked as the hospital emergency response coordinator for Holy Cross Medical Center since 2016. His involvement in all of these groups speaks to what makes him special and is the thing that placed him in a unique position to galvanize a community response to the public health crisis we still face. He did that by helping to form Enchanted Circle community organizations active in disaster, which, aside from being a mouthful to say, has proven to be a critical advisory body for Taos County during the pandemic. Even now, this organization is working with our local, state, and federal agencies to bring essential aid to Taos and helped organize our first vaccination sites for our frontline workers and the most vulnerable people in our community. Tonight's Citizen of the Year is the quintessential people person. If you run into him around Taos, you know he's going to talk to you, whether you like it or not. And he's not just a talker, he's someone who really listens to you. He tries to understand what you're after and can usually introduce you to someone who can help you to achieve whatever that might be. Malcolm Gladwell describes this type of person as a connector in his book, The Tipping Point. He writes, "The point about connectors is that by having a foot in so many different worlds, they have the effect of bringing them all together." With that, it is my honor to introduce this year's Citizen of the Year, David Elliott.
Hi, I'm David Elliott. I'm the emergency management person for Holy Cross Medical Center in Taos. And also, I am the regional emergency manager for the New Mexico Region 1 Healthcare Coalition. I do a number of other things in the community, both as a volunteer and in other capacities, all based on sort of a background in first response, emergency responder stuff, and community organizing. So the Enchanted Circle COAD is easily one of the most exciting organizations I've gotten to be part of in my career. And it came out of a need for people to share information and resources during the pandemic. Very early on, it was clear that this is something that was going to take all of us. Something that we would have to step outside of our normal roles and come together to communicate and share resources in ways that we didn't think maybe even we could. And it turned out many hours each week even that we were able to break down boundaries and to build relationships and networks that really helped people. Well, I mean, first of all, I'm not from Taos, although I feel like this is my home now for sure. I've only been in Taos about 10 years. And to feel welcome here by the community, by people of all these different cultures and traditions is pretty incredible. To be able to get to work with people who pick up the phone and work with me on a daily basis is pretty amazing. I'm the middle child. I have 4 sisters, and I was raised by my 4 sisters and my mom who's disabled. And growing up, a lot of times there were challenges. And almost always the solution to those challenges, in addition to digging into family, was something in community that said, we'll help you, that said yes to helping us, you know, and knowing that and feeling the relief of that when it happened for my family growing up, it's always been something that I wanted to do. What I've learned, I think, from that base in family and community into my career, whatever, I'm not that old. The time I've served in public service is that there's always an opportunity to do something positive. That there's room to be an optimist, you know, even when things are really gray, when things are scary. You know, that there are opportunities in these times of exception that allow us to do things we ought to do in community anyways. Things that we ought to do to make it so the next disaster, the next state of exception doesn't knock us down quite as hard. You know, things like communicating with people who may not have as loud of a voice in our communities. Things like looking at people who are classically left out and putting them back in, you know, or making more resilient systems, whether it's within education or healthcare, or even communicating to our political leaders. You know, some of these things are really part of disaster response if we want to be stronger in the face of what we know will be oncoming disasters in the future. But the best story of this response to the pandemic has been that people found a way to say yes to community, to each other, to sharing, to making the fast and easy way to get help. Said yes to unintended positive consequences, which has been really incredible. And so that was something that I think we were all really hoping for, is that we sort of say that when our chips are down or when the community's challenged, that Taos really does stand up. Well, I don't think that anybody realized how much of a leader in all of north central New Mexico Taos really was about to be. Thank you. How wonderful is it to be in a room full of such amazing fellow honorees and members of our community. So thank you, each and every one of you, for being here with me tonight. I'd also like to thank the Taos Community Foundation, the Taos News, and the members of the selection committee for making this possible. I'd really like to thank some of the leaders, especially the women leaders in the Enchanted Circle COAD, who I'm so excited to have worked with, including Lisa and Lindsay, including I took notes. Sorry. Sonia, who's an amazing leader in her own right. I think we're all just waiting for her to run for something so we can have her back. Aaron, Commissioners Vigil and Brush, Christina Ortez, China, Kayla, and also Joe Klein, Sherry Lyon, and Gil Martinez, who every day as spiritual leaders demonstrate that faith can be a story built on service. Of course, also Jacob Crisp, Luis Reyes, and David Norden. I'd like to make a special thanks to Anita Bringus and her mom Isabel in the back there, my fellow honoree. Anita, you are one of the finest leaders in this community. We would not be here without you. Thank you. I would like to thank Taos Pueblo and Ezra Bales for making it possible for the co-ed to work with our tribal community. I would like to thank Taos County and all of the emergency responders, including Taos Search and Rescue, who worked alongside 315 other volunteers, putting in tens of thousands of hours to make Taos County one of the most vaccinated counties in New Mexico against the virus. I'd like to thank the Town of Taos and Rick Bellis, Mitch Miller, and Valerie Mondragon. Their partnership with the Enchanted Circle Co-ed has moved millions and millions of dollars worth of critical PPE resources, not just all over northern New Mexico, but all over New Mexico, and in fact over the border into Mexico now. Masks and blankets, hand sanitizer, to folks who may not normally have been helped. I'd like to thank some friends and mentors who helped make me the person that I am. My best friend, Shiloh Gossner, said right after I first moved here, "Hey, David, do you want to be a firefighter in Carson?" And I said, "Yes, that's my dream. Where's Carson?" I'd like to thank my friend Tom Walmsley, who I worked with Team Rubicon on disasters all over New Mexico and have taught with. I'd like to thank my mentor, Martin Vigil. He's the chief in Santa Fe County, an emergency management leader on his own for over 40 years. And of course, special guest in the back of the room there, Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me and the other honorees. Even before COVID-19 was declared a state of disaster in New Mexico, Bill Patton and his team at Holy Cross Medical Center were working tirelessly and successfully to keep our community safe. I am so honored to work alongside those medical providers, those nurses, EVS workers, registration clerks, and administrative staff who led a state-of-the-art COVID-19 response that has saved lives, that continues to save lives. You know, in reflecting on all of this, you know, on this disaster that we're part of, on this sort of prolonged state of exception, I realized that this community is pretty exceptional too. And to live here in this vibrant, beautiful community that has accepted me, to work alongside these exceptional leaders, you know, I'm lucky, and I am humbled, and I am proud. So thank you all very much.
Let's give it up for David one more time. Thank you. Thank you, Valimar, for being here tonight, and our other 9 unsung heroes. Appreciate it. Let's give them a round of applause, too. All 10 of them. I would be remiss. Enrico Trujillo from UNM Taos did a wonderful job with these videos. I don't know, they're just amazing. And every year he does better and better for us, so I appreciate that. Thanks, Ruben. Thanks, Vito. Javier, you guys did a great job. Razor Sharp. Thank you so much. And I want to thank our photographer, Nathan, who's taking a photo of me. I think me right now. I don't know. But thank you, Nathan. He's doing a great job. He's running around here like a gymnast. And please pick up the paper tomorrow. Support your street sellers. Support your vendors. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next year. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Oh. One more thank you. I'm sorry. I know there are a lot of thank yous. I want to thank Lisa O'Brien, Taos Community Foundation. We normally have 8 to 9 unsung heroes. This year's a special year. We have 10, so she had a big job to do tonight. And like she said, we didn't have a net. We're just doing it all live, so thank you. Appreciate it. Good. Oh, don't forget to buy the paper tomorrow. Thank you.